scripture. Ezra 10 and 6. I Bible here I'm using, and I don't get to the scriptures. You get it? Okay, we have it on the screen. Then Ezra rose up from before the house of God, went into the chamber of Johanan, the son of Elishabeth, and when he came thither, he did eat no bread, nor drink water, for he mourned because of the transgression of them that had been carried away. Here's a complete, absolute fast. He deprived himself of bread and water, so the body would be subjected to the utmost suffering in that kind of fast. Esther 4 and 16. Into that. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast you for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens, Esther is commanding this fast, will fast likewise. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. This shows the bravery of Esther in pleading for her people, Israel, when Mordecai told her that Haman was preparing to get power from Ahasuerus to slay all of the remnant of the Jews that was in the kingdom of Ahasuerus. This shows her bravery. Seems odd to us that the king's wife, the chosen one, that he chose above all the other ones in the kingdom, that she could not even go in to see her husband without violating the law. And he could have her life taken. But it shows us another lesson also, that we never become so familiar, even though we're likened unto the bride of Christ in typology, in type. But we never let our flesh vaunt itself once we gain the knowledge of the third mother, as I taught yesterday, Mother Jerusalem, and me becoming a part of Mother Jerusalem, the bride of Christ. But we can never become so exalted in our own spirit, our own flesh, and say, oh, well, I happen to be chosen to be the wife. I'm going to be in the bride. And I'll call on the Lord how I feel. I'll call on the Lord when I please. He must answer me, because have you ever heard people do that, Brother Marlow? Many times in my years with the church, I've watched this spirit. It is there. One of the common spirits we deal with in the church, in ourselves, in ministry, is exaltation. Is exaltation. And we gain that from our flesh, and many times it brings an overconfidence in our gift, its ability to function. We get in trouble sometimes. I've seen great men that had great gifts get in trouble because they got too confident. They felt, well, I can call on, I have knowledge to be in the bride of Christ. Okay, he must hear me, he must anoint me. I must be one of them. I'm not one of these low ones out here. I'm one of the hierarchy. I'm one of the ones chosen to be in the bride. Well, that's a good type right there. If you're typing the Bible, if you like typology, that's a good type. Esther said, I may perish because it's against the law for me to do this. I'm going to walk in there and see the king, and I haven't scheduled an appointment, and I'm just going to catch him in his court, and I'm going to walk in and appeal to him. If I die, I die. And I think, on the other hand, there's another type there that goes into that you see, we must trust God or trust our King so much that we desire an audience with him. We desire him to hear us. We want him to hear us, needfully hear us. And if we die in the process of trying to be a part of the bride, or exercise the power of the bride, or get an audience for the king, we die. But we strive. Esther would have been striving if she had died in the process of trying to see Ahasuerus in the book of Esther. Read the whole book. It's an interesting book. And it's a picture of the bride and Christ. And you'll see the bride, you'll see Christ in that. Mordecai is a type of the restored Jew, the 144,000 of Israel. And Haman is a type of the man of sin, the papacy of Rome. We've taught it in days gone by. There may be more truth on that as we approach the latter times. And we're looking in down to the encroaching powers of Muslim teachings and doctrines. Maybe God will show us more on whether it be invested the man of sin in that area or in the papacy as we've taught it of Rome. We may get more light as God shows more understanding on the great power of Muslim teachings rising right now. The temples that are being built all over the world, and even here in the United States. We have one right in our area here being constructed now. And so there may be more light on that. But however it is, that type there, Haman, is the evil one, the wicked one, the man of sin that will perish in the gallows that he has prepared for the persecution and prosecution of the children of God. And he will perish in that, Mordecai being the type of the restored Jew. Interesting book. You can go into it and get many, many pictures. Sister Gail.
Yes, I have a question.
All right.
It's on the medical part of it. But a diabetic, if they fast for 3 days and 3 nights, that would put them into trouble, wouldn't it?
It would. Interesting. That's a good question. All right. The Bible is so complete, Sister Gail, that it never leaves us hanging on one strand or out on a limb, as we use that expression. The same Bible that teaches fasting, whether it's normal, absolute, or the partial fast. There's 3 fasts. The normal fast is not simply to do without food. If you're fasting from the appetites and desires, that would not endanger the health factor in your body. Yet you're fasting. You're dealing with the same object. You're trying to get the same job done. God may lead you to self-deprive yourself completely without food or without water. If he does, you must obey God, because we have examples, we just read these scriptures, where they fasted without food or without water. That's an absolute fast. But we know that when I deny the old man, whether I do it without food or whether I do it with food, if I get victory over the appetite of the flesh, and I can do it without food, I'm fasting, I'm depriving myself. But if God speaks to me and tells me to fast with food and with water, without food, without water, an absolute fast. That may be the only way I can get the victory, weakening the body. Brother Souder said that kind of fast weakens the old man physically. See, you don't weaken yourself physically necessarily if you fast in your mind, if you fast in your desires, and you have victory in that. If you can't get victory with that normal fast, because we should fast every day in abstaining from the appetites of the flesh in some area of our life, that's a normal fast. But if I can't do that, and Esther saw they couldn't, they needed to neither eat nor drink for 3 days. So they went to the absolute fast. If I have a health condition in my body, such as diabetes, it is not wisdom, because then the Bible teaches on the other teachings of the Scriptures, balancing the Scriptures, wisdom is the principal thing. Wisdom. Not fasting, but wisdom. Wisdom is wisdom hath builded her house. If any man lack wisdom, Proverbs 9:1, James 1, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God. Wisdom is the principal thing, Proverbs. So wisdom has to tell me if I have a health condition, diabetic condition, for one, that throws me into a coma, could throw me into a coma, could make me dangerously ill, well, I'm going to just fast and trust God. Is that wisdom? That's not wisdom, is it? If you know you have a known fact, just like the doctor tells you, take this medicine with food. And there are medicines you take with food. You don't take it without food. Make you sick. All right? You don't have any wisdom, then if you take that, I've got faith. But faith without wisdom is not complete. Faith with wisdom is complete. So you can fast a normal fast, not deprive yourself of food and water, and yet fulfill the will of God. If you have control over your appetites in your body, and you can keep your mind under subjection. And as Paul said, I keep under my body and bring it about. You know, I bring my body under subjection. So he had power over his body, didn't he? His soul and spirit did. So it wouldn't be wisdom for you to fast with a diabetic condition, a absolute fast. Then we have the partial fast, a restriction of diet, maintaining the simplest of diets, such as the juice fast. And I've seen people fast on nothing but drinking some juices. They were fasting from some foods. It's a partial fast. In Daniel 1:15, Daniel gave us the example of the partial fast. Because he did not partake of the king's meat, did he? In 1:15, so in the 15th verse, and at the end of 10 days, they fasted 10 days, their countenance appeared fair and fatter in flesh than all the children which should eat the portion of the king's meat. And thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse, which were beans, a compounding of beans taken and called pulse. And as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill and all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding of all visions and dreams. So Daniel had a partial fast over those 10 days. And they fasted on pulse and water, a mixture of compounding of beans and water. And they ate that, and they were fatter and fairer in their flesh than those that ate the king's meat, because they said, we will not eat the king's meat. So fasting is a matter of knowledge and wisdom, as well as deciding to fast. When you fast, you must pray, and you must discern what kind of fasting you're going to do. I gave you these 3 types in my words: the normal fast, the absolute fast, and then the partial fast. Okay? Anything before I take this part of fasting? Just a game.
So are you saying that if you have, let's say, watching television as a hobby, habit or something?
Yes.
Or playing on the computer or whatever?
Yes.
You fast from that too?
Yes.
That can be a fast?
Any appetite of your flesh that your flesh carries out and you desire that. Okay, let's take looking at television all the time, watching television all the time. Very easy to do because television involves you. You get got a remote and switch channel to channel. Some people become addicted to it. They do it by the hours. They do it anytime they can get a chance to watch it. They just watch it. I mean, they like to go from channel to channel to channel, surfing the channels, you know. And it's an appetite. And so you fast from that. You take your will, and through the grace of God, through prayer, through determination, through understanding of the Word, you abstain from that. You may eat steak for supper that night, but you're working on what's causing you to look at that television. Others have, now that we have Facebook out, Twitter and all that stuff, you know, I have people tell me, hey, Brother Marlow, on a daily basis almost, did you see what was on Facebook today? And I think, how did they know so much about Facebook except that they're seeing it all the time? They're looking at it. They're viewing it all the time. Brother Marlow, you can learn all about the church on Facebook. I can? Yes. You know what? You know what somebody said? No, I don't. I didn't go to Facebook and get it. You know what they said, Brother Marlow? You know where they were last night instead of being in church? You know where they were? It's on Facebook. They just told the whole world where they were. I never knew people like to reveal their private lives so much as I've been learning in the last few weeks and months. But they're revealing their private life. Hey, so-and-so and so-and-so. We had a great time at the beach last night. But they were not in service last night. They were not worshiping last night. Hey, do you know what someone said concerning someone? That even goes on Facebook. You know, it seems they're not afraid to put anything on it. They're not afraid, I mean, broadcast it. So, you know, if you've got an appetite for that, and you know you have a compulsion, if you can fast from it, you've got victory. You abstain from it. You deprive yourself from it. Brother Tyler.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brother Marlow.
No, go ahead. I mean, you have a question.
You were talking about fasting. I didn't mean to get off the subject, but I just happened to realize, you know, one of the reasons why I got off my computers and Facebook
Yes.
was because when I was reading, you know, and some people may disagree with me, but it is actually a trick of the beast and a tool.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
how it gets people to reveal their private lives. It almost destroyed me in that aspect.
Many people have found folly, foolishness, and fatal fatal attraction